let's talk about Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank ended with a huge shock ending that in the bar, in B-dubs we were watching, and all over social media, reverberated the biggest what the fuck in wrestling in a long time. Then Monday Night Raw and Smackdown happened, and Brock comes out, teases what he's going to do with Paul Heyman. They say they're going to come out later that night because Kofi and Seth aren't done. Walk around the ring, Brock Lesnar stalking his prey. And same thing on Tuesday. Paul Heyman comes out with that briefcase after Kofi's match. And Kofi's just ready before Kofi gets beaten down by a return. Smitty, I'm going to start with you because I know you were sitting right next to me when everything happened. Brock comes back. You're just as pissed as I am. Every fucking internet, you're like ready to fucking done. Z is like, fuck, I'm done with WWE. Raw and SmackDown happened. Did you get out of the fuck this and to let's see what happens now? Or I'm liking the way this is at least looking for the start?
I'm still in the fuck this mode to a certain degree, but I still want to see how they pan this out. There was a suggestion I heard that I was reading. They said maybe when he tries to cash in, the whole entire locker room stops him and just he fails via the whole locker room jumping him or something like that. It's like that's a good scenario I can see happening. Like, but if he actually cashes in that briefcase and takes the title, it's once again I feel like we're going back to square one to what people were pissed off for the last 2-3 years for now.
What do you think, Z?
I'm also still like, fuck this. But, I mean, they're at least doing something with it. And he's actually going to be... You're going to see him or Heyman on every show from here until he cashes in.
That's not true.
You'll see Heyman. You ain't going to see Brock.
That's not
But
true
you'll get one or the other.
I don't believe either of that.
Okay. What are you thinking, Joe?
Well, just because he has the Money in the Bank briefcase doesn't mean he has to make every Raw. That doesn't
But he
mean
doesn't have to. Heyman can do one and he can do
Why
the
does
other.
that mean that either of them have to?
Just saying. It'd keep things interesting, knowing that Brock could cash in at any time.
Just because he's holding that briefcase, to me, that doesn't mean anything that Paul or Brock are going to be at every Raw.
It does nothing for anybody in this
But
situation.
if they are, does it change your opinion?
No, dude, Brock is never going to work that type of schedule, ever, period.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to have the suitcase
So
very
it's
long
like
anyway.
I can't even put my mind into that because I know he's not going to be on every Raw, nor is Paul. Just them having the Money in the Bank's not going to change that. And that's not a negative or a positive thing. I'm just saying that's not going to make them be on Raw every week is all I'm saying.
Do you think that in any way, shape, or form, with him officially retiring from UFC now completely, that this will even remotely increase the schedule? I'm not saying everyone. I agree with that. I don't think he's going to
make him care a little more, show up a little more.
Look, I'm not even going to say care a little more because look,
when he's there, he works hard.
Right, his fucking matches are always good. You can't say like the last bad one was Dean Ambrose.
Be a little bit more dedicated. Let's say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or
that's
work
a good.
more schedule.
I honestly don't know. That's a very good question. I was kind of wondering the same thing, but what I do know.
Well, I'm asking what's your opinion, what you think is going to. I want to know what you know, and what you're hoping, what you're thinking, your opinion on is Brock coming back-ish.
I think you may see a slight increase in his appearances, but nothing major. And whether or not he's still active with UFC or retired, he's never going to be a full-time wrestler ever again.
But they're saying that he just wants to work until WrestleMania 36 and then retire. So you're right. We may not see him on every SmackDown or Raw, but we will see him a lot since he has the briefcase because they're just going to book the shit out of him from now until next year's WrestleMania, and then he's going to retire and not do shit. So he might want to work the schedule, or just like he did last year, like he works the upfront part and does appearance after appearance after appearance, and then he's gone for 6 months.
Nick, what are you hoping to see? Do you want him to cash this in quick? Do you want him to hold on to this for a while?
I think it'd be interesting to see him cash it in quick, and I think he will. He's going to come out and make him and Paul next week are supposed to be coming out and tell the world about what we're going to do, and I don't think he's going to hold it very long. I've seen what also kind of feeds into that, I saw an article, I can't remember what, I think it was like CBS or something. And they had showed images from Saudi Arabia, like before WWE even put them out, and there was a few matches, and that was one of them was Seth and Brock. So I feel like that could kind of play into it, because a couple of them were correct. There was one or two that the match wasn't right, but it's,
Does he have to cash in to get a match with Seth, though?
No.
It's Brock Lesnar. He wasn't even in a Money in the Bank match and won.
And I think Saudi
wasn't the Money
Arabia
in
is
the Bank
paying
match.
for it.
That's another
They're going to pay for it, so they want to see something big like that,
He was in the Money in the Bank match.
He was not an official competitor in that match.
He was when there was Sami Zayn was out of it. All of us they needed
But
somebody
why
else
does he?
Then that's the case. James Ellsworth should still have that women's Money in the Bank case.
No.
because the women had to win it.
I get that. There's some backstage negotiations. Paul and Vince, kayfabe. I get that.
Yeah.
But why doesn't Brock have to come out in the beginning of the match like everyone else? Why does he get privilege? Why does he just get to pop up like that?
Why did Becky get to take the number 30 spot when Lana couldn't come in for the Royal Rumble?
That didn't make sense to me. Either.
Yeah, I'll say that pissed me off too.
But I mean, that's it. But so my point is, that's what they wrote the story for. Yeah, I look. We can argue all day that it doesn't make sense, and sure, it doesn't. But it's no different than fucking X-Pac holding onto the fucking turnbuckle the entire Royal Rumble and not really doing anything, or Zelina Vega during the Women's Royal Rumble hiding under the fucking ring for the majority of the time.
At least they already entered the match before they did that.
I understand that, but they're still not competing at any point. You know what I'm saying? All they're doing is coming in and then
Finding a loop.
What year was that?
Finding
that
a
Roman
loophole.
won and he spent a grand total of like 10 minutes in the ring.
Finding a loophole in the system is different than like not competing at all until like not even showing up until the very end.
if it's a loophole, it's a loophole.
What loophole
To me,
did Brock use?
that's not a loophole. That's just
That's not
like
a loophole.
you're not allowed to do like you can't. Like if there's a one-on-one match, it's not going to be like one guy standing out there for 10 minutes and the next guy coming out 10 minutes later. I mean, the same thing with a triple threat.
But it's also not like Sammy was out of that match before midway through the pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you could say all you want, but it's not like they were like and a surprise entrant. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. It was no one was even announced as another entrant.
Technically, though, they knew that he was injured before the match started, so there's no reason for Brock to have to enter late.
They did a good job because we always talk about how they never like catch us with their swerve, and didn't see that one coming at all.
No one did.
Wasn't happy about it, but I still didn't see it coming. So they did a good job on that.
I feel better about it after watching Raw. I still don't like it, like you guys all.
Right.
It still pisses me off, but I'm now just like you guys. I'm like, all right, what the fuck are they gonna do now?
I'll be honest, man. My personal opinion on this, I fucking hated it when it happened. Smitty was sitting right next to me. We were both going, "What the fuck is this shit?" After watching Raw and SmackDown, where Heyman comes out, even without Brock, I don't want this case cashed in soon. I don't. And the reason I don't want it cashed in soon because I love the idea of Brock stalking his prey. It's the first time that you saw the people who have the titles go for the person who has the Money in the Bank briefcase. They didn't do that for Braun. Braun comes out and he goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to fucking cash in. I'll tell you when I'm cashing in." You know? And that was last year. Every other time, somebody came and just showed up. They went out to the fucking ring when Brock was talking about how much you fucking worry about me. You need to. Paul Heyman's like, you got to worry about Brock. He's a fucking assassin. He can show up at any time, just stalk his prey. Both those champions went out and said, "Fight me now. Fight me now. Cash that in right now. Fight me now." Seth Rollins, I beat you once. I could beat you again. You're nothing. Kofi, I need to face you. I need to beat you to give more legitimacy to my title reign. That's what was being said. That was all the stuff that was going on. You know, it's the first time that you have seen the champions go after the Money in the Bank winner rather than the Money in the Bank winner just wait in the wings. This is a genius idea if they let it go for a while. Because one, what's going to happen? If Brock holds on to this Money in the Bank briefcase, he doesn't have a championship belt on him. So you don't have a fucking part-time champion. I agree with Joe. He doesn't have to be on every Raw or every SmackDown. Heyman doesn't have to show up on every SmackDown or every Raw. Brock, I would love to see Brock once every 3 weeks, maybe once every other pay-per-view. You know, that's more than he fucking did before. You know, that's just, hi, don't forget about me. You know, it's this. I think is a very, very
I think if you see Brock too often every week, it'll devalue him.
agreed, and that's why I'm saying once every 3 weeks for shows, once every other pay-per-view.
I would agree with you 100 on that.
I would love if that's his schedule, and then even if he gets the title and holds it until Mania, if that's still his schedule, I'm all right with that because then your championship is on TV more often rather than once or twice every 4 months. Then you're getting that title defended once every. If it's every other pay-per-view, it's once every 2 months, but you're seeing him 3 or 4 times on television. So he's still an active part of the roster. You know, he's not just holding a title hostage, coming back when he feels like it. I don't even need fucking Brock on fucking house shows, man. I really don't. Brock is a huge name.
But isn't there technically a 30-day clause to defend every title? I know. I like that.
That's a made-up rule that sometimes they institute and other times they just negate it. They've been doing that.
Only when you want to relinquish the title.
I'll worry about rules when they apply to everything. When you can get pinned when your shoulders are off the mat.
Oh, bad officiating.
Yeah. You know,
I think that was one of our biggest things we said about Money in the Bank was bad officiating.
So with Brock Lesnar coming back, I just feel like this is a good thing for WWE right now because, I mean, this is the highest ratings they've gotten in weeks on this previous Monday Night Raw.
First time in how many weeks they've been over 2 million?
No, they've always been over 2 million.
I thought they were under 2 million for a couple weeks.
Third hour. But
Okay.
not overall. This is the first time they've been over 2.5 in I think
Okay.
it was 5
I guess
weeks.
now that I think about it, though, the Money in the Bank does make sense to be on Brock because now he's going to show up whenever he wants, and doesn't matter what the storyline is. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And it's just it's a good thing. Now, granted, would I have loved to see a young superstar get this and be, you know, propelled into the spotlight? Sure. I would have preferred that easily. But to keep Brock around and not give him your title and not show up when he wants and him doing something and it meaningful and making a statement and an impact every time he's there, I'm 100% okay with him being the Money in the Bank title briefcase holder, because then other people can get their fucking matches going like crazy, like you saw with Usos and Revival, like you saw with Ali and Andrade. You know, these are guys who may have not, you know, the tag, obviously they don't have the tag championships, and obviously Ali and Andrade didn't win, but now you're not worrying about, they're allowed to go out there and just have matches and good matches and keep the product fresh and good while you sit back going, wonder if Brock's going to show this week. Because now it's no longer, Jesus fucking Christ, I wonder if we're actually going to see our goddamn Universal Champion. Now it's, man, I wonder if we see Brock this week. If, you know, if he just shows up to scare the shit out. It's compelling television.
In other words, it's the same old shit with a different concept still.
What are you talking about?
It's the same old shit like, oh, is Brock going to show up with the case? Oh, is Brock going to show up with the title? Same shit, different concept.
No, it's not.
No, it's a
Before
completely
it was a
different
title
concept.
that I never got to see. This time it's just a briefcase, and he has the right to come and go as he pleases. Kayfabe wise.
Yeah.
Same shit, different
That's
concept.
not the same.
The schedule is still.
He's not.
It's like you come and go as you like. He's always come and go as he please. Same shit, right?
Yeah, but now he's allowed to. Like before, he wasn't. He had the title. Growing up watching wrestling, the one thing you saw on TV every time was the champion. I mean, that's what made a lot of people like fall in love with wrestling. You see this wrestling champion, you watch wrestling. Now it all trickle down effect. If your champion's not there, what am I watching for? Now, if it's just a briefcase that isn't there, what does it matter?
My issue is still like, okay. My issue is like, say the same, it's like same. It's a different. You're right. It's a different concept between the title and the Money in the Bank briefcase. But like the booking of Brock is not going to change. I really feel like the booking of Brock is not going to change.
So they give him the briefcase and just book him the same way.
I disagree with the booking of Brock being the same thing, because the booking of Brock before is once every 4 months with a 2 Raw build up the month before that pay-per-view that he's going to show up on. He's your big four. He would show up to big 4, maybe 5.
And you know why they're booking him right now? Because that Saudi Arabia show's coming up in about 2 weeks, and they will need they need to have him on TV to build that.
So what does this do to how you feel about the situation if he just comes out next week and says that he's cashing in Saudi Arabia?
If he gets the title, it changes me. It changes it because I don't want it.
Big time.
Well, the whole thing is, okay, if he gets the title and does the once every 2-3 weeks show up and defend it every other pay-per-view, I'm okay with it, ish. But not this, even at the same time, this early as it would be annoying. You know, I want him to hold this this briefcase until maybe the first fucking show on Fox. You know,
That could be a big draw.
yeah.
That is the rumor.
To me, this if it's not going to lead into something for Saudi Arabia, to me, this is their way of getting him to SmackDown for Fox.
You also have to remember
He'll go after if it's not leading to the Saudi Arabia thing, he'll go after the SmackDown champ at some point.
Yeah,
But there's also another Saudi show before the premiere on Fox. There's another Saudi show in September. The premiere in Fox is until October, so you could still technically have him lose it in Saudi Arabia or win it.
There's 2 Saudi shows. I think we're not gonna see Brock outside of those Saudi shows in SummerSlam for the most part.
You don't think he'll be at SummerSlam?
No, I say we're not going to really see Brock outside the build to these Saudi shows and the build for SummerSlam.
Do you ever want to see him in a fucking match other than at a pay-per-view? Like, in a match on Raw?
Yeah,
Like, if we're going to see him?
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to
just
see him
because
against some jobber,
not like
but-
every week, but just because we haven't
Right.
seen it in so long, it'd be like, oh man. I mean, if
Even
it was like
once
if it was hyped up for
between-
a week or two, like, oh,
Yeah.
Brock's wrestling on Raw this week. You know, like
People would actually watch the third.
yeah,
night.
that would
Yeah.
probably boost ratings. I'd imagine
And you also have to remember,
if it was done like not overdone.
Yeah.
you have to remember that Brock Lesnar, before this current run, was still trying to do UFC stuff. So obviously he would work into the contract. I'm going to work a real limited amount of dates just because I don't want to get injured.
And
with
he was
everything.
and he was playing both sides against each other, negotiating wise with his contracts. Now he can't do that anymore. Now he has to show some kind of loyalty and dedication, or else
he looked
has
like
to
he
show
was having
some
fun.
kind. He has to show some kind of allegiance, or else just leave the game.
Yeah, but he looked this week like he was having more fun out there
yeah.
than he's had the entire time since he's been.
Maybe
back.
it's a little less. Maybe he can because he's not as worried about the business aspect. He's not worried about playing both sides against each other. He knows he's got the one place. He's not kind of battling back and forth between the two.
and he already knows what his schedule is.
He's got
Like,
one
it's already-
place. He knows what his. So maybe he is a little more comfortable. Maybe he is having a little more fun.
Yeah, but you could just see it on his face. He was.
Oh, he was ecstatic to be on top of that ladder, man.
Oh, when he was boomboxing with,
yeah.
when he was coming out
with,
on
with
Raw,
the
yeah.
briefcase.
I kind of like that.
I actually thought that was really kind of entertaining. Yeah. It's like a Brock showing some personality for a change. I like it.
And that's why I'm thinking that this is different because, like you said, I'm not going to say he was playing both sides against each other for negotiation.
Oh, he for
but
sure
he
was.
for sure was like, look, I'm doing this kind of draw number, so you should pay me this.
No, I believe he absolutely, and he would be stupid not
yeah, I
to.
would say he'd be dumb not to.
He absolutely was.
Well, I mean, see, when I hear playing against each other, it's like, oh, do you want me? You owe me this. You have to give me this much. Oh, do you want me? You have to give me this
Well,
much
no,
more.
but like
I'm thinking,
he said he can go to Vince like, hey, I got, I got opportunities and deals on the table here with Dana White, so I'm gonna need a significant chunk of change from you for you to get my attention, and he can go vice versa to say the same thing to Dana White about Vince.
see, I also don't agree with that because I think all he would have to do is go to Vince and say, hey, I want to do some things in UFC. I just want to work less dates here. This is the money I want, and you have to let me go to these UFC ones. And then Vince would be like, okay, to keep you.
I
That's
still disagree. I think he's playing both sides, which he
But-
should have been doing. I would have, if I was him, I'd do the same thing.
So I think the difference here now is he's not attached to UFC at all. He is not going to fight in UFC. He's officially retired from UFC. He is now a WWE
Which,
guy.
as a wrestling fan, that makes me happy.
Yeah. And that's why I think that he'll be willing to work more dates for WWE.
Like now, I can look at Brock and like feel more like look, this guy's a wrestler now.
Right. And he fucking is in this company, and I don't have to worry about him disappearing and wondering what the fuck's going to go
Before,
on.
like, kind of like he's just a guy playing the role of a wrestler. Now,
Right.
like this is his only job. He's a wrestler.
Yeah. And that's why I think this time, this go around, everything with Brock Lesnar, it's going to be 100% better.
I hope you're right. I do.
Yeah, forever the optimist he is.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I'm all right with it. And most things pan out.
I still don't know how I feel about him having the Money in the Bank briefcase, but I'm definitely all right with him being there.
Right. And I'm okay with the Money in the Bank briefcase because it's adds a dynamic to that you never had on any fucking briefcase holder. Every other briefcase holder was there all the time. You knew they were at the show. This one you don't fucking know. It literally adds a holy shit aspect
At
to
first, I was thinking, because obviously I didn't watch it live, and I was completely spoiled before I could see. Anyway,
it. So is everyone.
right.
Yeah.
Anyone who
biggest
didn't
fucking
watch
thing
it
on
live
social
definitely
media.
got spoiled on that.
Yeah.
But at first I was thinking, man, the past 2 years in a row, they gave it to like the two guys that like absolutely need it the least. You know, like why would Braun Strowman need a... The first year, yeah, but now like thinking about it more, there's a lot more, as you've already stated, there's a lot more they can do with Brock with the Money in the Bank than they could have done with Braun.